Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Talking Shed podcast. Cody, we've got you here with us today.
Yep. And via the dark web, as some would say, we have Jeff Wherley in on a phone call. So,
Jeff, what's up?
Hey, not too much, guys. How are you doing today?
real good.
Pretty good. You know, today is it's basically mid-October.
Yep.
55 degrees here in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
What were things like out in Macomb, Illinois?
70s, 71 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to maintain mid to lower 70s for several days now. Are going to be going forward.
Okay.
I don't see fall yet.
Yeah.
You know.
We do.
Yeah, we do. We're getting the itch to go deer hunting, to be honest with you.
Hey, and the nights and the mornings get you into that, where
Mm-hmm.
we raise our nose to the air, and kind of sniff around.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, during the day, from about 10:30 to 4, no fall in the air, really.
I bet you some guys in Ohio and Indiana would love to see some of that to help dry out some of these crops that we still got standing.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
It is
there's
I mean, it's just the dry down factor. We're not that far apart, okay? 6 hours, and it's almost like it's a completely different scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Just the heat we've had, I think, and you guys haven't had, and I don't know. It's strange this year.
Yeah, the way it sits kind of across the state, I mean, we're basically, straight east of you, pretty much?
Yeah. Really, exactly.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy just how you can go 6 hours west and it completely change comparatively across the topography of the country.
Yeah.
I hope we get here. I mean, that's our biggest thing that here in Western Illinois is, boy, she's dry, and
Mhm.
it's going to take a long time. I think you could almost walk across the Mississippi in some spots.
yeah.
It is just, it's unreal.
Mhm.
I mean, it truly is unprecedented that we've seen this like this. So
Yeah.
I've heard how low it is. Talking to some grain merchandisers, they're saying that getting grain up and down it's a trick because of how low it is.
right,
But
yeah, traffic is just not as speedy, and so that just starts backing everything up. And
Mhm.
I haven't seen many piles or anything around. Of course, I think on-farm storage is pretty hefty, and it grows every year. I mean,
Right.
more bins and everything. So I think we're trying to take some pressure off of some of these elevators and such. But I don't know, it's still pretty good. What's the crop? What do you think? Big crop, medium out there, average?
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's above average for sure.
Good.
I'm hearing anything from 60 to 80-ish bushel beans,
Mhm.
corn. I don't know. I haven't heard many corn numbers, but there's plenty above 200.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it just varies from where you are at in the state. I mean, if you're a little bit further south, you're hearing like that 200 to 220. If you're a little bit north, you're probably closer to 200. It just kind of depends on where you're at as far as where you're laid out across, at least Ohio anyway. I haven't really heard much corn in general. I mean, other than guys taking off some seed corn and stuff like that, but
They're
Yep.
they're just starting to dive into corn
Mhm.
around here.
Yeah, it's everywhere east the same. Indiana and everybody. I mean, today, seriously, and I know, Adam, you text me on some devastators, but I mean, probably I could have done. I mean, we could have blasted 6, 8, 9 devastators. I mean,
Mhm.
guys just calling,
Yeah.
last wanting to get them and get going. So I don't know.
Yeah, and we kind of skipped over this part. Of course, many of you know if you follow along at all. Jeff is with Yetter Manufacturing,
Mhm.
and so Jeff's been our Yetter rep for forever,
Mhm.
and so yeah, we're going to talk all things Yetter and everything. How many devastators do you think are out rolling as we speak right now, Jeff?
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even know what number to put on that, really, truthfully.
several thousand.
Oh yes, yes. You know, and I always tell the story, of course, you know, for what, 8, 9 years we've been selling them. It's the only real product in all my years at Yetter that I've ever seen that started and it has never looked back. I mean, it's just kept and keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing some things with the Devastator. I mean, we've got 3 or 4 of those hydraulic, you know, Devastators out running.
Mm-hmm.
You know, making some tweaks. I hope next year we will have availabilities that, you know, we'll be able to add those to existing Devastators. You
Yeah.
know,
Derek kind of showed us kind of a few ins and outs of that at the Farm Progress.
Yeah.
So you're saying in the future we might be able to raise and lower and potentially add down pressure.
right? Correct. Correct. And you know, realistically, I think at the end of the day, of course, the head carts. Gee, many Christmas we hear.
Right.
You know, if it right after the price is, will it fit my head car? You guys know that. I mean,
Right.
talking to guys, and I think it would definitely make it ease. Although I still contend that 90% we don't have any issues with, and there's just those few guys that do.
Mm-hmm.
And typically at the end of the day, they figure out how to get it on there. I mean, tire size is the main battle.
Yep.
But after we get past it, I mean, a tweak here, a tweak there is, you know, always easily done, I guess you might say.
Yeah, and I always run them through the ringer too, as far as, okay, well, what's your combine on? Is it on duals or is it on a big fat single? Or, you know, just kind of go through the motions as far as just kind of quizzing them on what they got. And, you know, where are you located at in the country? You know, are you out in Illinois, out in the middle of nowhere in Indiana, to where if you do have an 8-row head and it doesn't go on your header cart, will it be all right? You know, a lot of these 8-row heads are about just as wide as what the combines are anymore. So it's you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, just kind of pick and choose your battles. For the guys that don't know, if you guys have been living under a rock or something along those lines. So basically, the Devastator is mounted on the corn head, and it's basically got springs for your down pressure. So it's basically set on a bracket, and your roller is basically compressed down with down pressure with a spring. So for those of you guys that don't know, that's why Yetter is considering making a hydraulic option to, one, not only make it easier to get it on the head cart, but two, to increase downforce if you feel like you need it.
And you know, it's like we always say, the head height, the pitch, 20 to 25 degrees is huge, you know, as far as how much force we put against the ground with that Devastator. It doesn't need that much, you know, and that's the thing, guys. I think sometimes, of course, have their head sling really too flat. And, you know, once we get them up and get a little bit of angle in them, you know, 300 bushel corn fodder. I mean, they'll walk through there 20% moisture. I mean, I've seen it countless times. So it's just a product that, hey, return on investment's there. I mean, for a guy that looks at anything else, there's another reason why he doesn't want to put it under there, because it truly is a no-brainer to speed up the residue breakdown and to save every rubber tire that goes through the field.
Right.
You know, I don't care if it's a grain cart, a tractor, anything. It's just it's phenomenal. I mean, just no two ways about it. So it's a good return on investment, and it's not that much, and this, that, and the other. So I think good. So
Cody and I made a stop earlier this morning on our way, and they had their head tore down. They were putting new stalk rolls on it, and yeah, that's when I hit you up about that Devastator. It's an 8-row, and I said, man, while you got this head tore apart, you got to have a Devastator on here. And he's, oh, I know, and so we're going to see if we can't make something work on that head and get him a Devastator. But yeah, it's once the neighbor has it or they see it run, man, does it make a big difference, because you know, residue management, it right there is where it starts.
Right, and that's exactly, you know, and that's, I guess, what I was going to preempt to is, okay, you know, I guess I'd like for us to put together a system because, with the Yetter products anymore, we're 12 months out of the year. I mean, back in the day, we were just planer attachments and some fertilizer coulters, and that's it. But, after the Devastator, now we move into strip till.
Yeah.
And the products that we offer into that market, some guys are making fall strips, some guys are waiting till spring. I mean, what do you guys, you see that? Do you see guys all want to use a knife and stay in the fall, or I guess, what are you seeing?
I think it's just how does it fit that grower's operation? What does he have time to do? Is it gonna make sense to drop that amount of money on something that is only going to be strictly ran in the fall, or is he going to be able to make himself more versatile and have something that can do both?
Right.
It just kind of depends, I think, on the operation and what it fits his bill, and what kind of help he's got to be able to run that thing.
Right.
A lot of fall strips.
Yeah,
I think
mainly
most guys want to run a knife. I think.
Mainly fall strip guys.
So when you run that in the fall, how many times are guys going to be able to run right over that strip with the planter without doing anything in spring?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
none. I mean, that row, and that's the whole contingency of why we making that strip in the fall when we're gonna have to condition it.
Right. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Am I right? I mean, that's just the way I am seeing it break down. That every time guys will call, in March or April and say, or February, and be like, "Man, I need something to fly over these strips. They're cloddy. There's no way I could put my seeding device over that strip and get 99.9% singulation."
Yeah, and there's no question it's going to get you out there a little sooner too. It's going to kind of break that top crust, air it out a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely a benefit there, and you've got the CC unit that can be a hybrid unit, meaning it can be ran in the fall or the spring, and so can the Maverick. The Maverick strip till unit, the rock trip, the heavy duty, that thing can be ran in the spring as well. So yeah, you got to stay versatile, because even if you do want to be a fall only guy, here in Ohio we got an inch of rain over the weekend, and it's too wet to be out there making strips right now. So if you run out of clock here in the fall, and you're dedicated to strip till, you're gonna have to shift and go to spring.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And I don't know. I mean, there's no silver bullet, as we know yet, to figure out, and it's really soil type, is the field tiled or not? I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into it, as you all know.
Right.
On some guys that are very successful at doing fall strips, and some guys are very successful at doing spring strips.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's what definitely follows up the combine, as far as what I see is that next market, what I mean, or strip till. And it's been pretty lucrative, I have to say. The people that are, definitely looking at it. And I think, 5-10 years, that is going to be the way we're going to farm. I mean, it's just, with nutrients, uncertainties of different things, of our inputs, we're going to have to really cut some corners here and there, So, but yeah, strip till's definitely been good, and I feel we're ready for it, and have a lot of options, to meet whatever guys' needs they want to do.
Yeah.
So,
no doubt. So, how are things rolling in the Yetter world? You keeping up with production and everything good there?
We are. Things have really come into play, and I mean, our supply chains are going good. I mean, we kind of went through, I think all the manufacturers went through a time when some of our vendors went out of business, couldn't handle, you know what I mean? And so we've had to change a lot of vendors and go to different casting company people and, different things because, those times were tough for some of those that were just on the verge of maybe not being real healthy to begin with, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that just that really was the last arrow to go in, and it was just done for a lot of vendors. So it was, our purchasing department and those guys, they work continually, always trying to find and always connecting with new people and that type of thing, which is always a hassle for sure. But yeah, employment, we've got signs pounded. If you come to our 3-county area and are driving around Macomb, you're going to see Yetter is hiring.
I see.
Everywhere we have the signs posted. Cody / Dale, he's out there pounding signs on the 4 lanes and
Okay.
doing this, that, and the other. So we're trying, and that still is a revolving door. I don't know if we'll ever get away from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Equipment dealers, I see equipment dealers on social media all the time, are always looking for people,
Yeah.
And I think you guys are too, aren't you? Are you looking?
Yeah. Yeah. We're always looking for good people. Yeah, all the time. I mean, anytime you can add to your arsenal, it definitely makes you stronger for the long run because, not everyone's going to be there forever. No. And so you need the next man up, even if you don't have an area in that certain role that's light. It's still nice to be heavy there, so that if someone,
right.
If anything happens, you've got someone there trained and pretty well ready to go, rather than waiting until when you get light, to try to hire.
It's like I say, either you have a bench or you don't have a bench.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that a lot of people don't look at is most places don't have a bench that, somebody can come in and be that 6th, 7th man. And it's critical that you have it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
But no, I think all in all, things have been going good on that side. The supply chains and things are there. Our sales are still very strong. I mean, we're still running and gunning on about everything,
Mm-hmm.
Planter attachments, twisters. We do, have that new addition to a cast twister ring,
Yep.
because we got the complete cast wheel, and now we're going to offer just that cast insert ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it comes down to a weight issue. Some guys think that 32 pounds is, quite a bit. And sometimes maybe the poly is too light in some real heavy clay, no-till conditions. I mean, and I think that insert it'll have a impact in some guys. So
right. Yep.
That'll be a new addition to our lineup, I guess you might say.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many ways to skin a cat, and that probably gets us into the next time period. And you asked us before we started recording, what we're seeing as far as planner calls already. Obviously you guys have everyone covered pretty much on planners. The next item to take the same path as the Devastator has been those poly spikes.
Mm-hmm.
We probably don't even need to spend too much time on them because most guys are at least familiar with them, or they've seen them on YouTube, or their neighbors have them.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, it's definitely the go-to for optimum emergence.
Mm-hmm.
I want to wear a body cam at a farm show.
Yeah.
Because don't you feel that because of the amount of people that come up, the end users that already have our stuff.
Yeah.
These are guys that have had Devastators and have had twisters, and I mean they just can't say enough good things. I just sit here and just take it, just listen to them. It's like that's awesome, but you just want to be able to share that sometimes with the world, because it's like, guys, here's 20 guys that came on the lot just to explain how great these things were.
Right.
So that's huge, and I guess that gives us momentum and knowing that we're going down the right path with the tools, because if you got a product that's not producing, you're going to hear about it.
Right.
So I think it just gives us more concrete evidence that we've got the right products for the right place and everything of that nature. So
yeah, no doubt about that. So you're right out there at what's the university there in Macomb?
Western Illinois
Western
University.
Illinois. That's right. Yep. So you've got plenty, you're located in an area that should hopefully be able to, when you're out recruiting for potential employment, you're in a decent zone there, not?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I always look at our struggle is you almost have to live here and have a foundation of your family and generational here for people to stay.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, guys come to college here and they go back home where they're from. And there's a few that do stay, but I don't know. We just haven't been real successful capture a lot of that, ag sector. And Western's got a good ag thing. You were out here, weren't you, Adam, one time or some showing at one time or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been out there.
That's what, and so they do have good programs on that side, but I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on it. And, smaller communities, we're an hour and 10 minutes away from Peoria. We're an hour from the Quad Cities. We're an hour and a half from Springfield, Illinois. Those are bigger metropolitan areas. And I don't know, people, I guess, don't like to live out in the boonies anymore. Convenience and things of that nature just seems to be more sought after than, just being in the small towns, I guess you might look at. But I would have thought Western would be pretty good as well, but it's just, I don't think we retain and get a lot of, kids out of college wanting to seek and stay in the area, I guess is what it comes down to.
Kind of more of a come and go type deal.
That's it.
Yeah.
They come to college here, do their thing, and then go back to wherever they're from. And, that's about it, really.
So how long you been with Yetter, Jeff?
30, has to be 33 years.
33 years.
Yeah.
Dang. So back when you were starting, what kind of stuff were you selling?
So I just happened to look through the price book of, I don't know what it was, 95 or something, 94. We were selling a row cleaner for $195.
Dang.
Yep. And it was a fingered wheel. Of course, we had the discs, the Trash Masters and that. But, yeah, row cleaner was $195 is where that started. And that was just a rigid, the old pen style.
Yep.
But, then I can always remember, guys were like, well, I want my Coulter. That was back when guys, had to have a Coulter because they couldn't farm.
Right.
And so, that was the first rendition of the combo, being able to wrap, put a row cleaner around. And I'll tell you, that thing that really took off. I mean, when we could add that row cleaner in with their existing Coulter, that really just took off.
Yeah.
So
and you still see that today. I mean, I drove through our local deer dealership lot yesterday, and they had 3 brand new planters in there with combo air adjust on it.
Wow.
But yeah, so I mean, what were you doing for fertilizer on planters? Probably a lot of dry.
Well, a lot of dry, yes, and $29.95s out front.
Yeah.
We'd have a 12-row front fold. I mean, that was the big thing, the 7,200s or 7,000 front folds. And, we had a whole host of bar kits. And, you basically took like an erector set and bolted all the bars on and bolted everything. And we tucked coulters in there. And, because the double disc openers just did not give us the placement of nutrient. And, and that's where that single disc made that narrow profile slot. And we were able to sock that fertilizer and get it in the ground. And, we had that whole buyer's guide, if you remember, you could go through in every planter, from Case to Kinsey to Agco White to Deere, we had all broke down of what it took to put 2995s on these planters. And then we went to the double coulter setup,
Okay.
Where guys wanted, 2 coulters up there, like a zone tillage, coulter tillage, and plant.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, a big thing. But then when Mother Nature threw us, wet springs, it was like pulling a boat anchor through the field,
Mm-hmm.
so much weight, and the soil was damp and wet, and it was a mess in some cases. And, so we've definitely seen the transition through the years of just getting these seeding devices more, lighter, and, not just, so much weight on them, and just not trying to do a lot of disturbance, as we're seeding.
Yeah.
And, I think that's really what's got us to strip till. Of course, I remember, 30 years been selling strip till. Seriously, we've had that L128 and right on up through. We could go through them and see, but,
Mm-hmm.
that's where it was really big, or just starting to, show guys, hey, let's dry that pass out without trying to put it with the planter, because that, we do the coulter tillage and still slamming that seed in cold, wet soil.
Yep.
And that's where the strip till can really make a big difference of drying things out, warming it up, and then make your seeding pass. Seed it just reacts so much different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we've sent you a couple of gems on some of the old stuff that used to be out there, and we send you pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, I remember selling that 20 years ago and this and that. Oh my gosh. Just
it's fun to watch. It's fun to have been through this whole scenario, just
mm-hmm.
because you've seen, I've seen how it's grown.
Mm-hmm.
And how I always say, back in the day, we used to drive and stop at a farm and say, hey, put this row cleaner on and take a few rounds, and that was, the guys didn't have any idea what a row cleaner was.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just, that's the things that you kind of had to do to kind of get that started. And once they got it on there, that was, once you get it in their hands, it works. They see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, just slowly but surely, progression wise, that's the way it went. So, but we've made a lot of inroads, man. The whole ag sector has really made a lot of inroads with seeding, and I always remark too, these hybrids today, man, I'm really curious to know how much moisture really these hybrids need to produce 200 bushel.
Mm-hmm.
You see it. You guys see sometimes we don't get hardly any rain, and we're still out there 210, 220. You know what I mean? It's still pretty decent.
Right.
So, technology's really coming into play, I think, a lot more on hybrids for sure.
Yeah, and it seems on the planter especially that everything is driven now towards efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be able to control it from the cab. It's got to be able to, we got to go the whole season without even thinking about that piece, whether it's a fertilizer coulter or the row cleaners or the closing wheels. We got to be able to just plant corn and not really worry about that, because when it's go time, and there's not much time to stop and think or make adjustments. Anything you're going to bolt to the planter, it's got to be able to run wet, dry, high, low, fast, slow, everything.
Yeah, it's got to be able to take every condition you can throw at it.
Yeah, and we've seen the 2940 Air Just, I put it as the Cadillac, and, it definitely, of course, Kinsey now has come on board offering their 5000 series row units with our Air Just and other mainline companies, because it's just what you said. It simplifies things. You can get your field to be 100% the way you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And all with no time, not laying underneath and adjusting 24 rows and tweaking this. It's tap, 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 and away you go. You're perfect now. See what I mean?
Yep.
So quick, our environment, and we know it's huge, to get that seed in there correctly. Because it's just emergence is where it's at. I mean, we want picket fence stands so everything pollinates and tossels and everything at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we're after a big old bumper crop.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
But
things have definitely changed, and they're changing more all the time. But there's Yetter is a huge part of advancements, because you go and price a brand new planter today versus maybe throwing some row cleaners and closing wheels, new double disc openers on your existing planter. Man, you want to talk about some ROI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's huge.
It's amazing what an attachment like a row cleaner or a poly spike or a devastator can do to an entire farming operation.
Yeah.
I mean,
it I mean, it truly is, to where we can, you guys can do it too, but we can tweak a planner, and you can tell customer, here's what you need to do. And I mean, that thing will plant efficient and be accurate, and everything that we're after, just like a new one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we Cody and I planted my double crop beans there July 8th, and we had our white out there 6 row, and we were in, of course, wheat residue, and I was curious how it was going to work, but man, I just put some additional pressure down on those 2940s, and we had some moisture there, and I didn't want to do a tillage pass and potentially lose a little bit of moisture, so we just no-tilled them suckers, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, those row cleaners were just kind of creating a little strip so that the closing wheels had a loose seed bed to work in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know of any other way I could have done that.
Yeah, it just cut through that wheat straw the way that it should, and had the poly spikes on the back closing the trench the way that it needed to be, and it worked out really well.
It's just what you said, Adam. You can't afford, when you're June, July, when you're double cropping beans, you got to conserve every drop of moisture you have.
Yeah.
And any kind of a total tillage, you're going to lose a huge percentage of that moisture. It's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the key factor, I think, in double crop is minimal, clear the slot, get good seed to soil contact, and close it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, then you're definitely off to the races when you can accomplish that, for sure.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, sunlight's a double-edged sword. We obviously need it to grow the crop, but then it can also, of course, rob us of our moisture as well. And so you've got to be able to have the best of both worlds and still thrive, have a crop thrive in heavy sunlight.
That's right.
So it's definitely a must.
No, that's exactly right.
Did you watch the Cowboys game last night, Jeff?
Oh, man. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, it's just how teams can play 1 week one way and turn around. It's just, they're professionals, man. Come on, right? I mean, shouldn't they be more consistent?
I don't know. I had to bring that up because, of course, Mom's a big Cowboys fan.
I know. I've been dinging her like crazy about, Dax, all these, colognes. If you don't, I forget what they are, but they have some pretty good memes out there with, him holding the plate of turnovers. Do you like turnovers? Do you? I mean, the whole thing. But my stance is still this, and everybody says I'm off my rocker, but since they've got gambling involved in sports, that I still feel that whenever there's money involved, there's going to be corruption.
Yep.
And I don't know, us football guys that sit there and watch, and you hear the announcers when they show a holding call, and it's silence because it really wasn't holding.
Yeah.
There's countless calls like that. Pass interference that wasn't, and then there, some that definitely were and no flags. I mean, the consistency as a real football fan, you have to question, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, there can't be a soul that can't say that it's as consistent now as what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something to it that I don't know, but it's still fun to watch, and you just never know what the outcome is. And that was a good game last night. You have to admit, they were playing, they were hitting, and they were going after it.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't stay up and watch the whole thing, mainly because I didn't have much hope. But
hey, you talk about hope? Why try being a Bears fan for a little bit? Yeah. Try doing that about hope.
Yeah. You've got a Buckeye as your quarterback there.
He got injured Sunday.
They ruined him. I don't think they're growing him and letting him get out. I think they're trying to mold him into something he may not be able to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and need to kind of let him do his own thing. But I mean, that's like the week before. I mean, he played pretty good. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, he could go out there and burn things up, and then the next week just can't even do anything. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of disheartening, but hey, I'm still a pretty big fan, so I'll still watch the game. That's for sure.
There you go.
So, on the farm show front, of course, they canceled that indie show there in December. I'm sure you're pretty disappointed about that.
Well, I mean, that was always a good show. I liked that show, truthfully. It was small enough, but the growers that came were big and good, and you got to spend time with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The quality of them was just...
That's right. And they were, some guys had to make purchases by the end of the year. And so it was a good time for guys shopping around. So I really did hate to see that go. I mean, I always had good success at that show. So, but I thought maybe Finnig Equipment was going to have and start something up about that mid-December time frame right there at the farm.
Oh, yeah? I see. Well, you come out December 15th, and we'll have a little shindig.
Mm-hmm.
We'll rewind it back to just the shop days. We'll have a planner sitting in there, and just go through the planner front to back.
An open house, a planner open house.
Yeah, planner clinic. There you go.
Yeah, we'll have the combine in there, of course, to show the Devastator, and
everything that that they can spend money, that they need to spend money on before the end of the year.
Right.
Exactly right. No, it was too bad to see it, and hate to say, but we're seeing nationwide. I mean, we see that with a lot of these shows are just not making it. We are the Commodity Classic. We're doing a little bigger footprint. We're going to increase our size of booth this year. So we're seeing that's been a pretty good move, and I think the Randy Dowdy and David Hula, I don't even know what that's called anymore, but
Extreme. No,
they changed it from that again. It's something different, but he's going to have it like a few days before the Commodity Classic, so it'll be nice for a guy who could possibly attend it and go right to the Commodity Classic.
I see.
So it's going to be in the same area. So, that'll be, I think those are both good informational type things. And you get, guys asking questions, and I think you get more of the end user, the decision maker there.
Right.
With those types of things. So, but No Till Conference is in Indy this year.
Yep.
So that's definitely always a big draw. That's usually their biggest attendance is whenever it is an Indy. So uh, that'll be good. So, but
Yeah. And then from there, Fort Wayne Farm Show.
That's right. Yeah, Fort Wayne. I think Caleb. I think I've got him down to come to that over there and spend 3 days at your lot. If that's going to work for you.
Okay, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, hopefully he's got some big buck stories by then.
Hopefully we do too.
Yeah. Has he been out hunting yet? Do you know?
I don't know if he has or not. He's kind of one of those guys that kind of gets close to November 4th, I think, is when, his nose starts going to the air. So
yeah.
But, he's actually down in Moultrie, Georgia. He's making a swing in the South this week.
Okay.
So he is traveling this week and going to check out the Moultrie show and kind of go out through there. So yeah, he's a good. It's going to be a good stick, that's for sure.
Yeah, we had a good time at Farm Science.
Good. Yeah, he's got the knowledge there. His background is definitely, he knows the whole aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seems like he does quite a bit of tinkering on the side too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he builds and sells some of those 2-row planters, sweet corn planters and different things, cover crop deals, and he does some of that. So yeah, he's into it. So those are the kind of guys we always look for. They're hard to find, and when you get them, you want to keep them.
For sure.
Have you got any plans for deer hunting yet?
I don't, and I want to get back going into it, but it's just, I don't know, maybe when you get older, it's just the priority's just not there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love watching him on TV. I'll do that. And, my son hunts and, hey, if he's got one knocked down, I still like to go tromping through the woods looking and doing that stuff. But gosh darn, when I got older, I sit there and I just think of the 20 things I need to be doing elsewhere, and I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll get back into the mode, but just, haven't really had much traction yet. So
yeah,
you never know,
Yep.
I've got everything to do it. I can, get everything rounded up in probably about an hour and a half and be ready to hit the woods, but just haven't found that yet.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
So, but it's all good. That's for sure. Can't complain. Things are going good. So that's the main deal.
Good.
So on the we typically have a few questions for guests. So Jeff, let's say that you farm a 1,000-acre farm and you can only pick 3 Yetter products to use on your farm. What are you picking?
I'm definitely going to be a strip tiller. I mean, that to me is from what I've seen and the data and everything is definitely, because I'm by myself and I got 1,000 acres, how can I do efficiently and do it the best I can without a lot of time and labor and everything else. So strip till is definitely going to be right there, number one. Devastator is, that's a slam dunk. That's in there for money savings and the breakdown of the residue. Hey man, you're going to make me pick one planter attachment?
You got to draw the line.
Huh?
Yep. Well, you could have picked 3 planter attachments. Yeah, I'm not making you pick one.
Well, but I know, but I want to spread this out to where my benefit's going to be greater. So see, I'm going to say, since I'm going to be running strips and doing strip till, I'm going to say closing the seed slot is going to be right up there.
Yeah.
Something in the Twister family.
Yep. There you go. So the Maverick strip till unit, the Yetter Devastator on your 12-row folding John Deere head, and Yetter poly spikes.
There you go.
I like it. That's a surefire setup. I mean,
you're going Maverick over the CC, Jeff?
I think it depends on what ground, what soil types I have.
Well, you're in Illinois. I
Well,
mean,
if I'm in
geez.
Illinois, then I'm going to go CCs all day long.
Okay, yeah, because
If I'm in heavier clay content soils, and I get where guys want and sometimes need a knife to break that up.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm in Illinois or in some good grounds in Indiana and Ohio, there's areas in Ohio same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because my strip tiller can be my nutrient placement tool for, so I don't have to put stuff on the planer as well.
Sure.
So, I'm going to lighten up my planner, make life much easier. Just like you said, when it's go time, I don't want to be jacking around with this, that, and the other. As far as the row cleaners or fertilizer or whether it be any of that, I'm minimizing my issues to have to work on. And I think that's definitely another case for the strip till, is that I'm getting a lot of that workload out of the way, and whether it be nutrient and seed bed prep and clean seed bed planting into, that's where the strip till is going to play a big part.
Yep. That's a setup for success right there. I like it. But that Illinois dirt, can't you just like call in an airplane and have them sprinkle the seed on top and and it just grows?
If you hit it just right,
yeah,
you definitely can. I mean, I can remember when first starting out, from being an Illinois guy, and Michigan was my territory. And when I go to Michigan, I'd be like, we don't know it. We don't know real farming because, I mean, you take the rocks and you take the clays and the different soil types that they have and all this, that, and the other. I mean, it's just like, holy cow. Mm-hmm. It's tougher in these other areas.
Right.
And so, we're blessed. There's no two ways about it. I tell guys, hey, don't be pissed at me. Get on your ancestors. Why in the hell did they stop in Michigan? Why did they come in Right?
Right.
I mean, come on. It was here, just kept going.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely easier with the soils and things that we have, for sure. There's no doubt about it. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So, I don't, as we get through harvest and I think as the corn starts to really get down to the nitty gritty here in Ohio, I think the corn planter conversation is going to pick up a lot for us. Obviously, that's a great time from December through May. So we're stocked up. I mean, we're ready. We've got the row cleaners, the closing wheels, and the parallel linkage coulters. Man, did they shine this summer in that hard ground side dressing.
Oh, yeah. It was hard. I mean, it was harder than the hubs of hell. I mean, there's just no doubt about shoving them and keeping that in the ground. But just like you said, Adam, a single arm coulter rearing up in those conditions is just huge. I had several guys that had those Hagee bars, and a lot of them had the Gen 3 coulters on them, the single arms, and I just said, hey, drop that coulter off, slide you a parallel linkage up on there, and I get calls back, guys that say, hey, you're exactly right. That parallel linkage kept that knife in the ground, and that's what we need. We got to have those nutrients in the soil, not haphazardly up and down, some in, some out. The inconsistent of our nutrients going to have an impact on the way our seed eats it and grabs it, and it's key. Parallel linkage pays.
Right. Yeah, it was huge for us, and it's going to continue to be huge. I mean, if you're running a coulter applicator and don't have a parallel linkage coulter on there, you'll need one here real quick.
Right, and you've invested your time and your fuel and your investment of your applicator to go through there. Why not put? I mean, the coulter is the thing that gets it in the ground.
Yeah.
Why chintz on the thing that is the most important?
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's what I just don't see when guys get down to the coulter portion. they don't care, but the parallel linkage is huge.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but
yeah, so Yetter's got all the products to take existing, whether it's a green planter, a red planter, a blue planter, or any color side dresser. We can take it and make it custom to fit what you're doing, because these manufacturers of all of this equipment, they make it to paint a wide swath, right?
Right.
But it's not real good on your farm. You need this new cast ring that Yetter came out with. Maybe you need the hydraulic devastator, or maybe you need a certain fertilizer unit.
Right.
And that's where Yetter comes in to customize everything, to tailor to what in the heck you have going on with your farm.
Right. And I say it once, I say it a million times for growers: work with dealers that understand and have the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And, in all my years of working at Yetter, that's where Finnig Equipment has shined and still shines, of knowing and talking to the customer. And, I know we ask a million questions, and I know some guys are like, why do you need to know that? Why do you need to know? We're trying to get down to the bottom to prescription fit the best setup for you, Mr. Farmer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we have all these tools, and you look at our catalog, hell, guys gloss over. They get deer in the headlight looks. Well, I don't know what I'm looking at. Well, that's where our expertise, that's where you guys' expertise comes into play.
Yep.
You can guide them through the landmines of all these other products that may not even be for our area. Hell, it may be for Texas. We sell most of that at.
Right.
And so that's where, I just can't stress it enough, for the farmers, and to go talk to guys who have, the knowledge. And so many people want to just sell on price. Hey, go for it. And then we hear them calling. Well, this isn't working here. This isn't. Well, where'd you buy it from? Well, this guy. Well, there's your start. He didn't have the knowledge to put you in that right product.
Right.
And I'm like you guys. I love helping people. I don't want bitchy calls. Who wants to have more stress?
Right.
I want to dot the I's and cross the T's right out of the gate. So that at the end of the day, he's happy. I'm stress free. Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll tell a guy, if he's looking at this, I'll say, hey, time out here. Here's my experience with that. And at least I'm giving him that opportunity to think about it. And whether he listened to me or not, that's fine. But I can sleep at night knowing that, hey, I'm not selling blue sky. I'm telling you what's working.
Mm-hmm.
And as much stuff as you guys sell, I sell, we know where they need to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out very, very good. And we do have the products for all different varieties and different case scenarios. And, our company has, the future is just so bright because of, everything that's coming down the pike is really, deals with every aspect of our business, placement, seeding passes, all these things are right up the alley of, it's going to make growers more money at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, we're excited. The big sales season for us, planters and side dressing is right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And now's the time. Guys are getting on YouTube and watching things and learning and we've got stuff ready to roll, and and we're ready for it. We're stocked up for it, and we're ready.
I've had the biggest summer of retail business of guys locking in stuff because they've been through the supply chain things. And so guys, they know if they want to get it in the shop in December and January and work on it on their schedule, get it now.
Yep.
Don't sit there and pull it in December and January, then order it, because it's more than likely going to be February, March.
Right. They got ran through the ringer too many times there the last few years. And
that's right. And so this summer, I'm telling you, lots of planter attachments were sold, and now dealers, farmers have them in their possession. Now they're not depending on anybody else. It's on their schedule. When they're ready to pull it in, when they're ready to do it, they have the product, and that's more efficient and it's less stress for them. You know.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Yep.
Well, I don't think I've got much else, Jeff. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys inviting me and offering to talk a little bit. So
anytime, I want to get in front of you more and more often here, Jeff. We need to go deer hunting. We got a lot of stuff we need to do yet.
Hopefully we can get the next one where we're all three of us are together
in person.
It's been a while, hasn't it? I mean, really, it was Indiana probably that one show a couple of years ago.
Louisville.
Yeah,
Louisville. We were
here. I know we didn't do one this year. It's probably been a year or two.
Yeah,
maybe, but yeah, we need to do that face to face there, and we'll have time this winter. We'll make some time. Maybe you guys can slip over the no-till conference a day, evening, or something. Sit down and do something. But those times I'm always excited because there's just so much interest and guys are ready to learn and listen. And that's the best time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, that's all I've got, Jeff. Thanks again, and we appreciate you coming on the podcast, and we'll look forward to doing the next one with you.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. You guys have a great day.
All right, you too. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks. We'll see you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.